Today on Damfast, the most high-tech Hyundai ever built. A car that both looks like it's from the future and at the same time feels like it's from the past. The 80s really. In this video, we show you what it's like to charge the IONIQ 5. We show you what it's like to vacuum the IONIQ 5. We test the 0 to 100 acceleration and we try to drift the IONIQ 5. And of course, we test out its practicality. Welcome to Damfast. This is the all-new Hyundai IONIQ 5. Let's start off with its design. It's a pretty unique looking car. Here we have a picture of the Hyundai concept car, the EV45. Does this look familiar? Normally manufacturers bring out such cool looking concept cars and then literally do nothing with it. Or it becomes a dressed down version with all the cool bits and pieces removed for legal registration. But this time Hyundai just nailed it. Just look at this thing. It is so cool and futuristic looking whilst having a bit of 80s vibe to it, as it is straight out of the Back to the Future movie. Let's start off with the parametric pixel design. The front of the car contains 256 separate LEDs and they're very bright. In this matrix shape they provide one of the key design elements of this car. The pixel theme and the matrix theme. We'll get back to the rest of that theme later on. And then we have the not so in your face Z design patterns that are actually impossible to not see if you once found them, because they're literally everywhere. You find them in the fenders right here, in the doors and side profile of the car, and here in the front bumper. The Z elements really make it look retro-futuristically cool. And actually there are many more design elements baked into this car, as you will see in the rest of this video. But first, some specs.
This all-new Hyundai IONIQ 5 has quite an impressive spec sheet. First off, it's a 800 volt electric car, which is actually twice the voltage in comparison to a Tesla's 400 volt system. This makes the car a lot more efficient, especially with charging. Then we have, of course, an electric motor ranging from 170 horsepower or 125 kilowatt to the range topping duo motor version with 329 horsepower or 239 kilowatt. The model that we are testing is somewhere in the middle, with the rear wheel drive version with 229 horsepower or 169 kilowatt. Torque ranges from 350 Newton meters from the entry level model to a massive 605 Newton meters from the all-wheel drive version. The IONIQ 5 comes with two battery packs, either a 58 kilowatt lithium-ion battery pack or a 77 kilowatt version. There also used to be a 73 kilowatt hour version available, but this actually was a restricted 77 kilowatt hour version, which you could get updated to the larger capacity with a over-the-air update. Ranging is between 380 to 500 kilometers respectively. The 0 to 100 Hyundai claims is 8.5 seconds for the entry-level version and 5.1 seconds for the faster dual motor version. Here you can pause the video to check out all the specs yourself. And by the way, this car is one of the most sustainable cars ever made. Look at all these ingredients. Bonjour! So, today... Ratatouille. Oh! They use 740 grams of corn and sugarcane, 294 grams of wool, 200 grams of flaxseed, and up till 32 recycled PET bottles, and a 0.08 square meter recycled paper. It's truly designed with the planet in mind. Let's check out if these groceries actually make the interior look okay. Let's start off with cleaning the car. The IONIQ 5's interior is very spacious and provides a lot of room, both in the front as in the back of the car. All the interior trim panels are in a light color, which actually makes it look even roomier than it is. In the front of the car, we have two dentist chairs, and that's not a joke. These chairs are highly adjustable and even have seat heating, cooling and ventilation in it. Here we will demonstrate the dentist chair. Actually, this dentist chair has a very clever function. It can provide the driver and passenger with a comfortable power nap space. It even makes meditational like relaxing music for you. A very cool feature if you ask me. In the front of the car we find two 12-inch screens, one for the driver and one for the infotainment. In front of the screen we have a pretty basic looking steering wheel with just the inscription IONIQ on it. And of course we have a center console, which is actually movable. As you can see here, the center console has a built-in wireless charging pad with a cooling system to prevent your tech from overheating while charging. Really clever. Next to the center console you normally find a glove box. Well, not in this car. Here we actually have a drawer, like you have at home, to put in some socks or your underwear. Let's move on to the rear bench, as this is not your usual rear bench. For starters, it is huge. And you have loads of head, shoulder and knee room in this car. But if that's not enough, you can actually move the rear bench even further, electronically. As you can see, this car is really clever made. And the whole design screams comfort and sustainability. But is it only comfort and sustainability, or is the IONIQ 5 also nice to drive? Let's find out in the DAMFest driving test.
In the DAMFest driving test, we test out the 0 to 100 time, the overall handling of the car, we test the brakes, if they are any good, and of course, we try to drift. Well, try. Let's start off with the handling of this IONIQ 5. The IONIQ 5 is a pretty heavy car, as it weighs just shy of 2 tons. But it does have the very heavy batteries stored underneath the car, which make the center of gravity lower to the ground. But the general setup of the car is really only for comfort driving, as this feels a little distant and way too soft for spirited driving. The IONIQ 5 is just really designed to be a comfortable daily cruiser, and that is what it does very well. So, not that sporty in the handling department, but does it make you smile when accelerating? Robin found that out for us in a DAMFest 0 to 100 acceleration test with the Draggy GPS equipment. You can order one in the link in the description down below.
So, and this is the 0 to 100 of this 2022 IONIQ 5. And the handling of this car is actually really good. Seriously, it's a fun car. It's definitely a fun car because in corners it does really go. Acceleration wise it's good, and driving wise it's good as well. And the car is also very comfortable, but it's not as fast as I and Nikki thought it would be.
Let's check out the braking of the IONIQ 5, as it is actually very high tech here. As almost all electric cars, the IONIQ 5 is able to regenerate some of the driving energy when braking. Because of the 800 volt EV system, it actually does it pretty efficiently. Also, the car only uses the friction brakes after it has reached maximum regen braking to prevent energy waste. Behind the steering wheel, we find two flappy pedals, and they are not for shifting gears like an F1 car. The pedals are used to change the amount of regen braking, and you can increase or decrease the braking on the go. A very handy feature. So what about real braking? The IONIQ 5 also does that very effectively. So 800 magical volts in this Hyundai. What does that even mean? It means that the car doesn't generate loads of heat during intensive driving and charging. The higher the voltage, the lower the amps needed and therefore emitting less heat. So we charged this car at a local Fastnet fast charger and got it up from around 60 to 90% in about 20 minutes. But this was with a 70 kilowatt-ish charger operating at 400 volts instead of 800. The IONIQ 5 is actually able to charge up to 350 kilowatt with a ultra fast charger, and with that you gain 80% of charge in under 18 minutes. If you charge at home, you can expect charging speeds of up to 11 kilowatt, and you probably are better off charging it overnight. The IONIQ 5 has a whole list of safety features, but we will cover only the most remarkable ones. So here's a full list of all the safety features. You can pause the video to check them out. So just as the Enyaq RS, which we tested last time, check out the video right here. The IONIQ 5 can be equipped with an augmented reality heads-up display. Hyundai even says it's a 44-inch display. We don't know what they mean with it, but it does work great with driving. Here you can see it warning us for the lines while driving very close to them. It also features level 2 of self-driving capabilities. Not as high-tech as a Tesla Autopilot, but still a nice to have for traffic jams. And one remarkable feature is the Safe Exit Assist, which actually locks the door for children if a car is approaching them to prevent them from opening and potentially colliding with the other vehicle. Pretty clever. And last but not least, the IONIQ 5 is equipped with vehicle to load, ideal for camping and vacuuming the car outside. With the optional vehicle to load adapter, you can plug in any electrical device that runs on 230 volts from the outside of the car. You can draw up to 3.6 kilowatt of power, enough to charge your electric scooter or power your house for a couple of days.
So let's dive some more into the multimedia system of this car, as there is a lot to talk about. For starters, as you saw on the beginning, the IONIQ 5 is a car to become relaxed in, with its dentist chair and airy cabin. So Hyundai actually made a couple of sounds to make you relax. To get the most out of these beautiful sounds, Hyundai fitted the IONIQ 5 with the optional Bose sound system. It's a 7-speaker system with a subwoofer underneath the false floor in the boot. The lower tones of the Bose sound system are actually really good, but it lacks clarity and mid-tones of comparable systems. But still, we recommend opting for this sound system as it is a nice option to have. In terms of connectivity, we find a lot of options to charge your device in the IONIQ 5. We have a dedicated 230 volt socket that's underneath the back seats. As you can see, here we have a lot of USB charging ports across the car. But we did notice that these are all older USB Type A ports. With such a modern and futuristic looking car, we actually expect USB-C. But I guess nobody complains with a lot of USB-A charging cables still around. And if you can't find any cables, you always have the option to charge with the wireless charging in the central armrest. It's a quick charger and it cools your phone with a special cooling pad underneath. And of course, we find Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity as standard. The multimedia system is very complete, but sometimes lacks a logic way of controlling the system. There were a couple of times where we just didn't understand how the system works, especially in comparison to the Volkswagen Group cars. Those systems look a bit more intuitive, and besides that, the IONIQ system looks like it's running on a cheap Android system with its buttons on the screen. Hyundai does offer BlueLink, a live service that provides you with up-to-date data for things like traffic, parking places and charging options. It also comes with the BlueLink app for Android and iOS. Now let's try the practicality of this car with our Will It Fit a Human test. As you can see, the boot of the IONIQ 5 easily holds 2 people and possibly more if you move the bench some more forward. Well done, Hyundai. The cargo volume is 527 liters, but can be extended to 1600 liters if you fold down the bench. The seats fold in a 40-60 split and both benches move separately with the electric motors. The cargo capacity is slightly less than the ENIAC RS, but still provides a lot of usable space. We also have some front storage, which the ENIAC RS didn't have. Underneath the hood, we find a special box with a lid on it. Here you find an optional 75 liters of storage, great for your charging cables. As you can see, the IONIQ 5 is a very practical car and should definitely be on your shortlist if you are in the market for a comfortable and practical family SUV.
Now, some must-know options for the IONIQ 5. So first and foremost is the panoramic sunroof. This is just a must-have in this futuristic EV. The natural light really makes this outstanding cabin even better than it's already. This Vision panoramic sunroof sets you back 895 euros, but it's really worth it. Hyundai even sells a solar panel roof to further improve the range of the IONIQ 5. Really cool, but currently unavailable, at least here in the Netherlands. Also, we recommend the 21-inch pixel theme wheels. They just make the car look so much more aggressive, and the design really complements the rest of the retro design of the car. The IONIQ 5 can also be delivered with DSM, or digital outside mirrors, just like the Audi e-tron SUV. A nice feature, but really more a cool gimmick than a practical option. And last but not least, get the heat pump. You just don't want to burn through your battery if you're in a cold winter trip. Oh, and don't forget the IONIQ 5 in matte gray, as it just looks badass. So, and then finally we come to the conclusion of this video. Is the IONIQ 5 really worth the hype, or is it just a retro-futuristic looking vehicle without character? Well, to be fair, we now do understand why this car is getting more and more popular. It's still not a sporty car, and the straight line acceleration is nothing compared to, for example, a Tesla Model Y, but this is genuinely a relaxed car to be in. From the dentist chairs to the seat-making sound, infotainment and the roomy cabin, it's just a great daily driver. Combine this with a decent price and a very aerodynamic shape, despite all angles, this car really combines the best of the 80s angular cool design with modern and efficient technology. So what would you take? The IONIQ 5, a Kia EV6 perhaps, or the Tesla Model Y? Let us know in the comments down below. Ciao!